First of all, let me extend my heartfelt thanks to Shobhit and both of you. It was wonderful to come here. All of them are my close friends much before this institution was started. So I am aware of many of the things happening here, but it's my first visit here. And it was really heartening to see how something has emerged in last 4 or 5 years in spite of being crisis of COVID. And I first of all congratulate you and also Soumya and Shobhit and all the faculties here, because of whom this could have been possible. So today I'm not going to talk much, just 10-15 minutes, and then we can have some question answer session. How many of you have heard about Satya Nadella? Everyone, practically everyone. Sundar Pichai? Okay, good. Zakir Hussain? Okay. Have you heard about Amar Bose? Okay. Correct. So many of you must be using Bose earbuds or earphones or music system. The inventor of Bose company is actually Amar Bose, of Indian origin, who is no more. Hargobind Khurana, a Nobel laureate. So these are all, why I am taking all these names, they are all belong to one category, what we broadly can call as the Indian diaspora. So there was some discussion about numbers. So actual number is more than 3 crores, 30 million. And around 1.8 crores, 18 million are of Indian passport holders. And remaining another 1.5 or so, we don't know exact the number. They have been a citizen of that country. Also, these people have not moved in a very short period of time. The migration from India is happening for almost 150 years. In the ancient time also, our people used to go and do trade there. Famous Silk Route is a witness of it. But then later on, in the modern times, Britishers, when they were ruling India, they started taking many Indians as the farm laborers. And many of them, they went there, they settled there, especially in the Pacific island like Fiji, in the Eastern Africa, right from Kenya, Tanzania till South Africa, and also in the Caribbean countries, mostly for the sugar farming and other kind of farming. Just an interesting story, most of them, they have gone from certain parts of India, in the Purvanchal, Bihar, Jharkhand, today's Jharkhand, and then also from Andhra, Telangana areas. And they were mostly semi-literate or illiterate people. They are farm laborers. They were not knowing English, definitely. But Britishers, being a kind of a system-driven people, and so that later on no one should blame them to carry slaves, they forced these people to sign an agreement with the British authorities. And these people, being illiterate, they couldn't even pronounce the word agreement. And therefore, they abbreviated it as a girmit. And therefore, these people are still called as girmitiyas. And you will find still the many such agreements preserved in the many archives in India and those countries. So this is the history. Then a lot of doctors have gone, nurses have gone, the blue-collar laborers have gone to Middle East. And now then the IT revolution has changed everything. So you know all these things. So first of all, the diaspora is not uniform. That is the number one I would like to insist upon. Second is that it has not, diaspora has not been created in a short period of time. There is a history of 150 to 200 years for this migration, and therefore they have evolved. And therefore their interests are also different. For example, those who have gone very recently, they are definitely interested in Indian politics, what's happening in India. Many of them, I know from my own examples, many times I open early morning or WhatsApp, and then I see some news coming from US about India, that something has happened in India which I am not aware, because I am sleeping while something has happened, some earthquake or something political prevailing, and they are daytime, they are watching the news and they will immediately send. There are many, to an extent, there is one Gujarati newspaper which they publish in Hindi. It is hardly read in India, but most of its audience is abroad, because when they put their online edition in evening, so that when the people abroad, when they get up, they have fresh news about India. So, and then they call, oh, this is what has happened in your town or something, which many times we are not aware. So this is the kind of live connection between India and day-to-day affair and these people. But as the generations grow, these people also, they settle. Their interest in day-to-day politics of India, day-to-day development in India goes down, but they are still connected with India culturally, emotionally. For example, if you go to South Africa, there are two distinct kind of diasporas you will find. One in Johannesburg, which is more modern, has gone for last 30, 40 years, and therefore they will find all these connections. If you go to Durban, which is mostly, it is the largest Indian diaspora after Dubai, but you will not find that kind of connect with the day-to-day, but they still practice Hinduism, they go to temple, they pray, they read Ramcharitmanas. Their names are, many of them, they still speak Telugu. Many of them, they speak Hindi. But at the same time, they don't know from where they have come from in India. Because for 3-4 generations, they have not visited India. So in many places, in fact, they have started the associations specifically to trace back their roots in India, and many of them, they were successful. Second part is, many of them have done a lot of philanthropic activities in India. Even in this institute, you could see, I was told that there are a lot of NRIs who have donated significant amount for the building of this institute. And it is not unique. For example, IIT alumni has created a massive corpus for their respective IITs in 300, 400, 500 crores, so that the good education and the latest education can be imparted to the next generation. But at the same time, while this is very important, there are many, what I call below the radar philanthropic activities. They are being undertaken by this diaspora. Many of them, they have built a school in their hometown, a small hospital, or even drinking water facility, sanitation facility. Many of the people in Gujarat, Telangana, Andhra, you will find hundreds of examples that every year someone is sponsoring 25 students to go to higher education. And they are doing it year after year, and no one take cognizance of it. They are never recognized, but they are doing as a kind of duty or something, giving back to their people back home. And the connections are very live. They come there to monitor institutes. Again, because I spend a lot of time in Gujarat, I can give you more examples in Gujarat that many private universities in Gujarat are actually now fully funded by the NRI, and they have beautiful campuses, world-class facilities, etc. So this is kind of giving back to the society, to India. The last thing I will put forward, and which Shobhit has asked me to, is that how they are looking towards India from their angle. So the picture is mixed, definitely. You go there and you will still find there are people who would complain about bureaucratic hurdles, corruption, and also not getting the things faster, etc. So I must admit that it's not that everyone is very happy with everything that's happening in India. There are also ideological opponents of current dispensation who think that everything what's happening is in India is in the wrong direction. But also there are people who are actually trying to compare now India with the developed countries and try to see where are the gaps and how these gaps can be fulfilled. So their approach is in this criticism also is constructive rather than just simply criticism. But what has happened in last 10 years or so is that the perception about India has changed dramatically. And a large amount of the credit goes to Prime Minister Modi and his persona and his interactions, some of which we have seen. Because that has not only enhanced India's image abroad among diaspora, even though all these events are primarily focused towards diaspora and 99% people who attended were of Indian origin, one way or other. But apart from that, the society around it, whom they are interacting, are also becoming increasingly aware about India. And that has enhanced the diaspora stature in that community. And this is something very new, which they didn't feel some 20-25 years back, because they were always looked at, okay, these are the good people, harmless people, mostly the talented people, but they were never seen as a kind of asset, a soft power which someone, the word which someone has used. And those who were aware of the soft power like music, dance, etc., they were kind of learned, knowledgeable, or maybe elite class who were aware of Indian music or Sanskrit, etc. But for the commoners, India was just, okay, one of the countries on the planet. That has changed drastically, partly because many of our people are now going to senior positions like Satyanarayana Nadelas and Sundar Pichais of the world, but also because of India's image has enhanced significantly in last 10 years. And I can give you multiples of examples. You have seen here example of two. I have attended more than 30 programs of Prime Minister in last 9 years. And everywhere the experience is same, that not only Indian diaspora, but also the community at large is now looking India from a different perspective. And that has also created Indian diaspora becoming a kind of social capital, intellectual capital, and in some country even a political capital. For example, in Canada now, where you have seen, must have seen newspapers about all the controversies. So why Canada is still saying after doing all this that, okay, we want to have good relations with India? Because they know the contribution of Indian diaspora there and their political strength. They are almost 3% now. Indian diaspora constitute 3% of Canada's population. Many of you miss, in fact, when I went to Israel, very interesting example, that Israel has a very unique policy. They call it as a open arm policy, that anyone who can prove their Jew ancestry can go to Israel and they will get Israel citizenship. So close to 60,000 Indian Jews have now migrated to Israel. Now, when Prime Minister went there, they were not even, the Israel government itself was not aware that there are so many Jews of Indian origin. And when they came to know, in last 24 hours of the event, Mr. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, that time also he was Prime Minister, he announced that he himself would like to come and attend the event. Because they now see it as one of the constituents of their country. And same thing has happened with Mr. Trump and so many other global leaders who have seen, because first of all, they have never addressed in their own country such a huge number of people. No one, not 15,000 ever turn up for any political rally. So it is something unique experience for them. And they also see that addressing these people has become a very important part of their narrative. And all that has enhanced India's stature. Now, India's digital stack has been seen, for example, as a very potent tool, not only by Indians abroad, but also by all global leaders who want to have some kind of equity or parity as far as technology is concerned. They said the India's experiment with Aadhaar, India's experiment with UPI can be emulated. And even yesterday, I was coincidentally meeting US ambassador to India, and he was saying that India and US should take this India stack to entire world, and we can actually say that, okay, some of the countries US will work upon and some of the countries India will work upon, and therefore we can give the very affordable and safe digital solutions to the entire world. So this is the kind of right from initially simply the emotional connect, then social cultural connect, then economic and financial connect. For example, more than $100 billion every year come as remittances from Indian diaspora all over the world. So there is huge inflow of foreign currency, and it is most probably the single largest component of foreign currency India receives every year. So from there to the technological connect, and now using all this India stack, how we can influence globally. So this is the kind of upward journey that is happening for India and because of Indians, and also the Indian diaspora has played a very significant role in all this. Also, one of the things which is very important, why all these things happening, is that Indians all over the world are seen as a kind of a law-abiding resident of that country. The crime rate of Indians is one of the lowest as in the national average of almost all countries. There is no exception to that. They are one of the most educated people in the national average. For example, in US, as far as the economic status is concerned, the average US per capita income is close to $50,000, $45,000 to $50,000. Average Indian American per capita income is close to $90,000. So it is almost double the income. So this also has a lot of influence on the local communities. They are now going into politics. Of course, technologically, their leadership is proven. So all these small things are also having heavy impact on the way the things are happening. And therefore, eventually, everyone, those who have seen these people, they feel, for example, there is a very famous story about Jack Walsh, ex-CEO of General Electric. He said that he was presented a case that we should go to India as R&D. And the people who were presenting the case, they were very skeptical that how Jack Walsh will react. And therefore they put forward a presentation of what are the intellectual capital, how many graduates, how many IIT, all these things. And they said, we would like to start with, say, 50 or 60 people. And then Jack Walsh's reaction that if they are so good, then why only 50, 60, why not 500, 600? And that's how the center of R&D center started in India. You may not be knowing that Intel's largest R&D center outside US is in India. Close to 3,000 high-end scientists are working in Bangalore. It is not the low-end coding jobs. They are really doing R&D and the chip design, etc. Many of the people are actually having a very pivotal role in developing the extreme high-end technologies in US. So all these are gathering together and they are gravitating towards now how all this potential can be leveraged to India. And therefore, when someone says that, any foreign company says that I want to have a chip manufacturing plant, I want to, for example, mobile, you know the story of Apple now, that Apple is one of the one of the largest manufacturing base is happening, taking place in India. So no one shows any discomfort about it, or no one is questioning that can we go there, will we get enough intellectual manpower, trained manpower, all that. So they are very confident that things will work in India. And that is the positive change, I think, that has taken place in last 10 years. I can go on talking, but I would stop here and will be happy to answer your queries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.